everybody, John here. So I'm going to do a quick review of the Belleville 300 tropical boot with the steel toe. And the reason this is important to me is because I work as a park technician just outside of Portland, Oregon. And at times I can be out in the rain for as much as 13 hours a day. And it's raining at times all day. Now, it's important to me to have a boot that allows my foot to stay warm and also as dry as possible. And part of that is because back in the day when I was in the military, I got immersion foot, which is if you've ever stayed in the bathtub too long and your toes crinkle up, immersion foot is that to a heightened degree, to the point that it messes with the nerves and the tissue of your foot, and it's very painful for your foot to get wet. So having a dry foot is very important to me. Anyway, on to the boot. Okay, so this is the Belleville 300, as I said. If you notice, we'll start at the bottom, work our way up. It doesn't have the Panama lug sole like other jungle boots do. This is more of a, who makes this? It's a Vibram sole. I assume that means that this boot can be resoled. I don't know for sure. I know, though, that the jungle boots from the Vietnam era with the Panama lug sole cannot be resoled. Okay. I don't know if it has a composite shank or a steel shank. I do know that it has a steel toe, and that was one of the requirements for part of my job, is that I have access to steel-toed boots. I don't need them all the time. I just need them some of the time. So that's why, if I can, I'm going to try to get another pair of boots so I can have two pairs of boots to rotate out, and we'll go over that later. Now, the quick difference is this boot, unlike the Altima, the Rothco, or the McRae jungle boots, does not have the brass vents in the side. That worries me a little, because if this boot becomes waterlogged, I'd like to be able to have some of the water coming out of the side. I don't know how that'll be handled. Now, the other thing to notice is, on the typical jungle boot, this would be a canvas strap, and it probably actually about half the width of this leather strap here. Again, I'm a little worried about that because also in Oregon, we have some really warm weather. Last year, there were 3 days when it was 118 degrees. Now, what that translated into last year was the canvas that made up my jungle boots last year, and last year I had a pair of McRae's. I was able to wet the canvas, and the canvas, with the water evaporating off the canvas, kept my ankles and essentially my body a little cooler than would have been had I not done that. So the fact that some of the surface area of the ankle is taken up by this wider strap has me a little concerned. This material is denier nylon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, as opposed to the typical jungle boot, which has canvas. And I thought initially that I was going to be a little unhappy with that. I don't mind it too much. It's okay. I don't know if it breathes. I don't know how it's going to handle wet. I've only had these for about a week. But the nylon I'm okay with. I wish they were green as opposed to black. I think they'd be a little cooler. Not much, and maybe that's just my brain working on me, but I think a lighter color might be a little cooler. I was worried about this collar being padded and how that was going to hold up or feel. I'm not bothered by that at all. Now, a couple of things that I did the minute I got these. I went with a 96-inch Kevlar shoelace. That allows me to do two, one around each way and then tie in the front, as opposed to just having a boat in the front. And I feel like that just allows me to tie the knot as tight as I want or as loose as I want, as opposed to going with the stock shoelace and you're sort of limited by how tight you're going to have it in the front area. The other thing I did was, these boots come with an okay insole, but what I wound up doing was I got a secondary insole, and I've gone with that. it provides a little more arch support. The leather on these is what you'd expect. It's a little thin, and that's okay. It doesn't come off like it's cheap, but it comes off like you don't have to really get involved in doing too much of a break-in. As far as fit and feel, they are true to their size. I wear a 10 and a half, and that's what these are. I know some manufacturers ask that you order a full size above or a full size below what you typically wear. These Bellevilles are spot on. The steel toe doesn't feel like a cup at the end of my foot like some of them do. You know, some of them, the steel toe is much larger, and so the end of your foot is rattling around, if you will, down there. These feel a little lighter than my McRae's, so there's that. Overall, I like these boots the best so far, and this is my 4th year of working this job. My first year, I had a pair of Danner boots. They were the Lookout side zip boots, sort of more of an EMT boot. Those were a little heavy, although I did a boot review of those when I got them. They were pretty good. Next year, I got a pair of McRae jungle boots, and those were even better. I like those pretty good. This pair of Belleville tropical boots, better still. Okay, I love this boot. It really feels good, and so far it's met every one of my demands. What I'm hoping to do at some point, I mentioned getting a second pair of boots. I'm hoping to get a pair of the Altima boots, and that might be a best of both worlds. It would be all the new features with a lot of the older stuff, the Panama sole, the nylon collar, nylon material here with the canvas strap. It might be, as I said, the best of both worlds. And the reason I want a secondary pair of boots is because as much as you try to keep these boots dry, eventually they're going to get wet to the point that they're not going to dry out overnight, and you need a secondary pair of boots to rotate into while these are drying out. Anyway, if you have any questions about them, leave me a comment down below. As far as price goes, all the boots I've mentioned and previewed up to this point are about $175. So, give or take a few. But any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll talk to you later. Otherwise, John out. Thanks. Bye.